It started with a leak, not to the press, not to a journalist, but directly into the inbox of a congressional oversight committee. An anonymous file. No subject line, no signature, just one attachment. Audio 014 Barron GC.mp4. Jasmine Crockett didn't open it at first. Too many hoaxes, too many traps. But something about the timing was precise. Just days before Barron Trump, the youngest, quietest Trump, was scheduled to appear as a guest voice on a bipartisan Gen Z panel about political identity and trust. A rare public moment. One his team had choreographed carefully. He was, after all, being reintroduced to the country. But what that audio clip held could rewrite the script before the cameras even rolled. When Jasmine finally listened, alone, behind her closed office door, she didn't move. She didn't take notes. She didn't blink. The voice was his, soft, measured, unmistakable. And what it said? Not rage, not scandal, but something far more dangerous. You don't get it. They don't want truth. They want obedience. And if I break that, they'll break me. Pause. That's why I keep her close. Jasmine scares them, but if I stay close, maybe she won't see it coming. Jasmine sat still. No shock, no panic, just calculation. He knew this would surface. The question is, when and why now? That night, she said nothing. Not to her aides, not to the committee, not even to the press. She just circled the date of the upcoming event and wrote 3 words on a yellow sticky note. He's already speaking. The morning after the leak, the file wasn't private anymore. Someone, still unknown, had uploaded it to a decentralized video forum used by political junkies and anonymous whistleblowers. It didn't trend. It detonated. Within 2 hours, journalists had clipped it, TikTok creators remixed it. Gen Z flooded the comments. But one question echoed louder than the rest. Is he the puppet, or is he playing everyone else? Barron Trump was at a media training prep when his team interrupted him. Sir, it's out. He didn't ask what. He asked who. Was it Jasmine? We can't confirm, but it ends with her name. He listened to the audio, all of it, twice. His face didn't move, not until the final line. Maybe she won't see it coming. That's when he exhaled. Okay, he said. We go on stage. Sir, shouldn't we? No denials, no blame, no panic. We stay composed. Then quieter. She'll be there. She'll look at me. I'll know by her eyes what this really is. On that afternoon, the auditorium was packed. Jasmine Crockett walked in late, on purpose. She didn't take the center seat. She took the one across from him, face to face, eye level. The moderator smiled nervously. Before we begin, Barron, anything you'd like to say about the clip that's been circulating online? Barron's mic clicked on. He smiled, just a little. It's edited? Then he turned his head, straight into Jasmine's stare. She didn't blink. She didn't tilt her head. She just looked at him. Still, unbroken. And in that silence, the room shifted. Because even without words, everyone saw who was holding the truth. The panel ended in polite applause. Nothing fiery, nothing explosive. But the silence between Jasmine and Barron, that was the real broadcast. Backstage, Barron sat alone. No aides, no camera crew. Just him and the echo of his own words bouncing around in his head. Maybe she won't see it coming. He remembered saying it. He remembered why. But he hadn't expected it to surface like this, without context, without protection, without his control. A notification lit up on his phone. New message, unknown sender, image attachment. He opened it. It was a still from the live panel. Jasmine's face, still as steel, eyes locked onto his, mid-stare. Beneath it, one line of text. You blinked. He didn't respond. He couldn't. Elsewhere, Jasmine sat in a dim office, lights off, laptop glowing. She wasn't celebrating. She wasn't leaking. She was reading, analyzing, Because this wasn't about catching Barron in a lie. This was about who wanted that lie exposed. Across the internet, speculation exploded. Did Jasmine leak it? Was it a warning shot? Is Barron the next Trump or the first defector? But Jasmine remained silent. She didn't need to defend herself, because Barron's defense, it's edited, had collapsed under one undeniable truth. He recognized every word. In a private room, Barron turned to his reflection. Why her? He asked himself. Why am I more afraid of her silence than my father's rage? He didn't have an answer, but the fear? That was new. The next day, a second panel was scheduled, this time closed to the public. No live stream, no press. Just a safe dialogue roundtable between youth leaders and selected members of Congress. Jasmine showed up. Barron did too, but this time he walked in early and waited. Jasmine entered silently. She didn't greet him. She didn't look for allies. She just sat, across from him, again. The moderator gave the usual intro. We're here to listen, to understand, and to... Jasmine raised her hand. May I begin? There was a pause. The moderator glanced at Barron. He gave the smallest nod. Go ahead. Jasmine didn't take out a file. No phone, no paper, just her voice. You once said, they don't want truth, they want obedience. The room froze. So I want to ask you, Mr. Trump. She leaned forward slightly. Who is they? Barron didn't move, didn't breathe. The table was silent, not just with tension, but with invitation. She wasn't cornering him. She was offering a path, a chance. Who is they? She repeated. Because if you can name them, maybe you're not under them anymore. Barron looked at her. No smirk, no shield, just raw calculation. He opened his mouth, then closed it, and said, Not yet. The room stirred, not with answers, but with something heavier, implication. Jasmine nodded once. Then I'll wait. She didn't need a confession. She needed a clock, because eventually, silence runs out. It was late. The event was over. Most had left the building, but Jasmine stayed, and so did Barron. One aide lingered by the exit, holding a phone. Jasmine's chief of staff nodded. They'd have the room alone. No podium, no script, no audience, just 2 chairs, 1 lamp, and everything that hadn't been said yet. Barron sat down first. Jasmine didn't speak. She waited. You didn't leak it, he said quietly. Jasmine raised an eyebrow. I don't leak, she replied. I reveal. Barron nodded once, then silence again. Then, they told me if I sat quietly long enough, I'd inherit the narrative. But you didn't, Jasmine said. You leaked it yourself. Barron's shoulders stiffened, then he smiled. But this time, it wasn't smug. It was resigned. Maybe I did. Maybe I needed someone to ask me who they were. Jasmine leaned in slightly. So, who are they? He looked down. Then, slowly, up. They're not a person. They're an agreement. One I was born into. One that says I get silence in exchange for obedience. Jasmine didn't blink. And you? I broke it. She studied him, not with sympathy, but with something more dangerous, recognition. Then let me be clear, she said. I don't need your apology. I don't even need your truth. But the next time you speak, make sure you're not borrowing your father's voice and calling it your own. Barron didn't respond, not right away. He just said, the next time, I'll speak like someone who's been heard. 2 days later, it happened again. Another file, another anonymous drop, but this time it wasn't a voice memo. It was a video, a silent one, black and white, grainy, but unmistakable. It showed Jasmine and Barron, sitting alone in that private room, leaning forward, talking, no audio, no context, just 30 seconds of intensity between a congresswoman and the son of a former president, uploaded without warning, circulated within minutes. News anchors speculated, pundits filled in blanks. Did Barron confess something to her? Is Jasmine orchestrating something bigger? Why was there a camera in that room? Barron's team panicked. We were told that room wasn't under surveillance. But Jasmine? She was already on the record. When a reporter ambushed her on Capitol Hill. Congresswoman Crockett, any comment on the leaked footage with Barron Trump? She paused, smiled. Funny how a moment of truth scares people more than a lifetime of lies. And walked away. Behind closed doors, Barron stared at the clip, again and again. It didn't show words, but it showed him listening. Something his family had told him never to do in public. His phone buzzed, a text, no name, just a sentence. You looked like someone becoming free, no signature, but he knew, it was her. And then he did something he'd never done before. He took out his phone, opened notes, typed 4 words, my voice, my version, and hit record. He could have denied it, blamed AI, blamed editing, blamed Jasmine, but instead, Barron Trump did something that no one expected. He posted a video, no production crew, no suit, no script, just a neutral room, a phone, and a voice he hadn't used publicly before, his own. I didn't plan to speak today, but apparently, silence isn't silence anymore. He looked into the lens, steady, calm. That recording was real. So was that room. So was Jasmine. He paused, not for effect, to breathe. I said what I said, and I knew what it meant. But what I didn't know, what I hadn't realized, was that someone like Jasmine wouldn't flinch. She didn't call me out. She didn't shame me. She looked me in the eye, like I was someone who could still choose who I became. The video was just under 2 minutes, but it broke the internet. Comment sections exploded. Is this real? Did Barron just say Jasmine saved him from himself? Did Trump's son just defy the dynasty? Hashtags took off. In her office, Jasmine watched the video once, then closed her laptop. She didn't post a reply, didn't call a press conference, didn't issue a statement. She just whispered to herself, he finally saw who they are. The day after Barron's video, the media world split like a fault line. Some called him brave, others called him brainwashed. Many didn't know what to call him at all. But one question rang loudest. Why hasn't Jasmine responded? Cable news debated it. Was she silenced by pressure? Is she calculating her next move? Is this part of a bigger plan? But Jasmine? She was teaching a night class at Howard Law. She was walking her district in Dallas. She was speaking to students, not cameras. Because to her, Barron's awakening wasn't an event. It was just the beginning of his homework. Meanwhile, right-wing influencers swarmed. She manipulated him. She trapped him. She staged the whole thing. Hashtags turned vicious, and still, Jasmine said nothing. Not until a journalist caught her outside a bookstore in D.C. Congresswoman, do you believe Barron Trump was sincere? Jasmine turned, met the camera head on, spoke just 6 words. That's not my truth to verify. That night, Barron watched that clip in his bedroom. He paused it, replayed it. Each time, her words sounded different, not cold, not dismissive, but freeing. She wasn't owning his story. She was handing it back to him. And for the first time, Barron Trump understood something about Jasmine Crockett that no microphone had ever captured. She doesn't fight to win. She fights so others stop lying to themselves. Barron hadn't spoken again since the video, not online, not in interviews, not even to his inner circle. But something had shifted. He wasn't hiding. He was watching, learning, waiting. Then it came, an invitation to speak at a student-led political forum at NYU. It wasn't flashy, it wasn't televised, but Jasmine was listed as a closing keynote, and that changed everything. Barron RSVP'd yes, no handlers, no conditions, just one request, no introductions. I'll walk out when I'm ready. When the day came, the room buzzed with anticipation. Students, professors, journalists, everyone waited to see if he'd show. And then, he did. No suit, no stage light, Just Barron, stepping up to the podium, holding a single folded paper. He didn't read from it. He held it, then looked out at the crowd. My name is Barron Trump, and no, this isn't a statement for my father. This is a decision for myself. He took a breath. I used to think silence protected me, that obedience was the cost of belonging. He looked directly at Jasmine in the front row. But someone once asked me, who is they? And that question cracked everything I was holding on to. I don't have a perfect answer. I don't have a grand plan. But I know this. When you finally hear yourself say the truth, even once, it's louder than every lie you were told to repeat. He stepped down, didn't wait for applause. And Jasmine, she stood up just once and nodded. A small gesture, but it carried the weight of a torch passed, not forced. After Barron's speech, there were no press lines, no Secret Service whispers, no scandal, just quiet, a kind of stillness that only arrives when the noise finally burns out. Jasmine took the podium for her own remarks. The crowd expected a reference, a quote, maybe even a closing embrace between her and Barron. But she gave them none of that. She gave them this. When I was younger, they told me politics was about power. Now I know, it's about permission. Who gets to speak? Who gets heard? Who gets believed? She looked around the room, then directly at Barron. But sometimes, the most dangerous thing you can do is simply refuse to look away. The room stilled. That's what they're afraid of. Not anger, not rebellion. Eye contact. She stepped down. No campaign slogan, no soundbite, just a simple glance as she passed Barron. 1 second, no smile, no nod, just steady human recognition. And that was the end. No deal struck, no enemies made. Just a moment in history where the son of a dynasty and a woman built from defiance stood on equal ground, not because they agreed, but because neither one flinched. The recording was released. He called it edited. She never looked away, and neither did we. What began as a leaked recording became something much bigger than scandal or shame. It became a moment of reckoning, not just for Barron Trump, but for everyone who has ever been told to stay quiet, to obey, to inherit a role instead of discovering a voice. Jasmine Crockett never raised her voice. She never pointed fingers. She just looked, and refused to look away. Sometimes the most revolutionary thing you can do is let the truth stand still long enough for someone else to finally see it. This wasn't a takedown. This wasn't a victory lap. This was transformation, captured in silence and sealed with eye contact. And maybe, just maybe, that's where real change begins.